men that I see? Well, actually, lesbians have the highest reported rates of IPV. Hi, my name is Liz. It's been a minute since I've addressed this particular bout of misinformation, so let's get into it. I think this comment is very reflective of the influence of debate culture, especially here on TikTok. It's like, this is a 48-page data survey. It's also from 2010. Because what you're doing is you're presenting one set of numbers at face value, assuming that it backs up the point that you're trying to make, which is that lesbians are more abusive. But if you read the entire study, or even just a couple pages of the study in their entirety, you would see that the people who answered this survey are discussing their experiences throughout their lifetime. So when people are commenting on male entitlement and male violence and the way that that affects our society, it is not a gotcha to say, well, what about lesbian IPV? Higher reported rates of intimate partner violence in lesbian relationships are not indicative of women being actually more violent than men just in relationships. No, what these numbers tell us is that perpetrators do not care about the sexual orientation of their victims. And this is reflective in the data breakdown of the report itself. The majority of lesbian, bisexual, and heterosexual women, 85.2%, 87.5%, and 94.7% respectively, who experienced sexual violence other than rape in their lifetime, reported having only male perpetrators. And this was just a questionnaire based on how people were identifying at the time that they took this survey. All of this is in here. While there is, of course, violence in every demographic because anyone is capable of being violent, this report is rather indicative of lack of resources and community aid, right? Because again, what y'all fail to realize is that anybody can be violent. When we bring up criticisms of toxic masculinity or male-predominated violence, the implication is not women are not incapable of doing bad things, is that violence and the hierarchy that comes through heteronormativity is part of masculinity. It's woven into the masculine culture. In other words, violence is often encouraged in men while it is discouraged in women. And of course there are exceptions to every rule, but if anything else was true in our society, what we would be seeing is a much more equally perpetrated crime statistics, right? You all wouldn't just be able to pick one set of numbers and throw them out of context and say, look, women are just as bad. No, there would be consistent data showing that women are committing the same amounts of violent crime on a similar basis as men consistently, but there's not. This is not biological. This is social. And comments like this just really make me wish that stuff like this was part of our required curriculum in schools, because it's really easy to just look at numbers, especially if those numbers may confirm what you already believe in your head, but it's a lot harder to contextualize data and properly read that data. If you read all the way to the end, you can see the implications for prevention and what they recommend, and a lot of it is community aid and access to resources.